I really want to become the best in the world. Some days are just so cool that it's so difficult, to focus. This sport fits me so good. You have no idea. Like skiing, I love it. Everyone are talking about this. They get so tired of the season and it's so many things happening. For me, the season is like a vacation.
Kajsa Wickhoff Lie with
Our guest today embodies courage, energy, and Norwegian spirit. A skier who's turned pain into purpose and setbacks into history is Kajsa Wickhoff Lie. Welcome, Kajsa Wickhoff Lie. It is a pleasure to spend some time with you.
Thank you so much.
Kajsa, let's start with this comeback and courage thing that a lot of people love you for. That day in Val d'Ifasa, so many of us remember that really awful crash, but very few people know about the road that came after. Can you take us back to that moment and what the first days of recovery were like?
I don't know if you can call it recovery at all. I think it was my first and hopefully only real crash. You're in shock. You just feel like, the only thing you think about is just, okay, am I going to survive this? Or what's going to happen in the next 1 minute? Because I just need to, not be in that much of a pain. But it was, and it was COVID. I got flown to an Italian hospital. I was alone. I was in shock. I didn't know, or I could see that my leg was broken, obviously. And but suddenly I saw this Austrian jacket, and that's the only thing that I knew what was in this hospital. And I was like, I tried to grab the jacket when I was laying in the bed and hey, you need to help me. I don't know, what am I doing here? What is going on next? I don't know Italian. I don't know German. Can you please help me? And he said, yes, I'm here. Another Austrian girl also crashed. I'm here for her, but we're trying to get her to Innsbruck, fly her with a helicopter. And I'm in contact with your doctor as well. And maybe getting you also to Innsbruck. And then I met Rosina Schneeberger, who also crashed and broke her leg. And we both got flown into Innsbruck and we got a surgery. And the morning after, I woke up in a room with her. And then I was sharing a room with her for 5 days. So we really got through it together. We were crying ourselves to sleep, eating dinners, lunch. Her boyfriend came over and gave us both flowers. And it was actually, she made my days in the hospital when it was COVID. So that was the first days. And then it was back home to Norway for a real rehabilitation.
You'd picked up your first podium in Garmisch-Partenkirchen just before that crash. I mean, to go from sort of hero to zero, from high to low so quickly, did that add to the pain? Because it was your breakthrough. People knew you were coming. We were getting very excited that this new kid on the block was becoming a major player.
It was a really, really cool season. I was skiing really good and I hated Garmisch. I had my World Cup debut there and I crashed and I really managed to step it up and get my first podium there. And I was just really happy. My Super G was going so good and we came to Italy. My coach was setting the course. It was beautiful weather, conditions. I love Italy. And it was just such a shock to me, and I never thought it can happen to me, this major of an injury. So it was definitely something to reflect on. And I was hoping my career would just have an arrow like this, of course. But it happened, and but I felt like I really, really took it and made everything I could out of it, actually. So is it one thing I think alpine skiers are really good at is just taking every opportunity or everything that comes to you in the best way. So as a skier, if you crash, it happens to many people and most of them come back. So you just have to step it up and try to do the best out of it.
Let's talk about how you sort of dealt with that, how you made the best of it. You've said that you needed something to focus your energy on, and that's how your now famous pizzeria in Oslo concept was born. What did that project mean to you mentally while you were still healing, ready to come back to us?
It was so weird, actually. It was my my dad's friend. He wanted to open something in our local community, and I said, I don't know what I'm doing the next couple of 6 months. So I said, yes, I'll join. I'll see how it is, and I'll learn something new about that business as well, because you never have the opportunity to do anything else. And I love pizza. I love food. I love Italy. I love the community at home. So I really wanted to see that I can create something and see actually this arrow in something else than skiing, because I knew that my body will probably go like this the next couple of months. So I just wanted also something else to focus on that I know was actually going in the right direction. So it was a way for me to just step out of the skiing world and actually do something else that gives me positivity and development, I think. But yeah, after that, it's been really cool. I have a lot of celebrations there, and yeah.
So tell us, for all the listeners and viewers, where that pizzeria is. Next time I'm in Oslo, I know where I want to go for pizza.
Of
How do we
course.
find you?
So it's called La Pinza, and it's at Eiksmarka, so 20 minutes out of the Oslo city center. And you should go there. We have the best pizza we have is the truffle pizza, salami. So just ask for Kajsa special, and you will have a good pizza.
Okay, that's got us all. We haven't even started this interview, and we're all looking forward to pizza already.
But also, when I was in the hospital, I had this pizzeria, but I also became a part of this book that I didn't know. So it was this guy who contacted me, Ketil Bjørnstad. He is a famous Norwegian guy, like pianist, and I don't know a lot, but I didn't know him. But he emailed me and said that he made a poem out of my first podium in Garmisch, because it was COVID, his concerts were cancelled. So he made this poem about that podium, because he's been following alpine skiing since he was a little kid, and now he's like 80, I don't know. And he then said, I want to make a book of alpine skiing. You want to join? So at the hospital in Innsbruck, I also said yes to this book. And I think I wrote like 8 pages in it. So, I mean, I own this little part of this restaurant, and I wrote like 8 pages of a book, but I can still say I'm an author, so that's good.
Fantastic. I love that. Poems and pizzas. There's something that kind of goes well together there. Now, let's stick with the thread here, because 2 years later, you came back stronger than ever. I think everybody would agree. And then came Kvitfjell. Whoa, I love this story. Not only your first World Cup victory, but many people find this stat really quite amazing. The first ever downhill win for a Norwegian woman. When you crossed the finish line, did you feel like it was redemption or like a new beginning?
I didn't know about this until I think the year I crashed, that no Norwegian had won downhill. But when I heard about it, I could see in Ragnhild's eyes that we had this small fight that no one spoke about. I knew Ragnhild really wanted it, and me too. So every downhill was about like, okay, first of all, we wanted to have a podium together. That was our biggest goal. And but first I had to come back from this injury, and the season started quite tough. I tried to get the faith back in my self-consciousness, or my Selbstvertrauen in German. I get so confused of the languages. But I was really taking steps, and I knew I was onto something. And that's when I felt that, okay, we have this competition going on. And Ragnhild has won almost every discipline. GS, Super G, she was just missing this downhill. And we came to Kvitfjell. It was our first home race in a World Cup. And I think I had my first downhill and Super G race in Kvitfjell when I was 11 years old. So Kvitfjell has a big, big space in my heart, and I love Kvitfjell. I think I have won everything there is to win since I was 11 years old. So there was only one thing to do. And I came there, and then I suddenly also noticed how much big of a deal it is to actually race on your home field. You have your family, your friends, you know every single corner of that slope, and you just know that you can take any challenge as it comes. So this was just everything lined up so perfectly. And Ketil Bjørnstad was there, who made the book with me. He was down in the finish, and I just knew. I had this feeling that it was just, I could just do whatever I wanted, and I knew I would do good. So that day is probably the best day in my life, I think.
It was a fantastic race. It was a brilliant result, but the way you skied it, it's so good listening to those words, because when I was commentating, it was as if you were in another zone. You were so confident. You were so in harmony with the mountain, and that overused word, in the zone, but you looked like you were in another frame of mind to all the athletes. And as you quite rightly just said, you looked like you'd won it before you started.
Yeah, but this is the first feeling I got of like setting a goal since you were a kid. You know, you have this Olympic dream, you have this World Cup dream, but to actually feel that energy again in Kvitfjell, which is 3 hours away from my home, but it's my skiing home. It was something else. It's definitely something else, and that's where you get the power from, and that's when I started believing in like faith, and see if you really, really want something, it can happen if you just want it enough, you know. So no, it was a crazy dream that came true actually, and Ragnhild was a bit disappointed, but she was so happy, and she also got her win 2 years later on her last year as a skier. So she got a victory, but I got it first, so I'm quite happy about it.
I hope you're smiling at home, Ragnhild, and you're listening to this. Let's move on to part 2, Norwegian spirit and friendship, because you've talked about Ragnhild and the camaraderie between them. You've been on the Norwegian team, as we know, for several years, and today you're one of its veterans now, I think it's fair to say.
Oh, God. Don't say that.
Older members or more established. How would you describe the Norwegian women's team today, especially from your perspective and bringing that sort of experience into mind?
I think when you speak about the women's Norwegian team, it's been a journey, actually. From when Ragnhild was on the team almost alone in speed, and we had some tech skiers. But the last couple of years, we've been stepping it up a lot. And now we're quite many compared to what we were like 10 years ago. But it's difficult to look at our journey when you have the men's team next to us. And, you know, you have this winning culture, and the men's have had that since Kjetil André Aamodt and Lasse Kjus, and they have had this snowball that can just roll and roll and roll, and they just keep on doing it, you know. They keep on winning every single season, and we never had that kind of a team. So it's been a big goal for when I came into the team, and we talked a lot, the girls and the staff, about how can we become this team with a winning culture, because it's a big difference between winning once a year or maybe getting a podium once a year to having almost every athlete on the podium, or you have a podium every weekend. So but I think this comes with for the men's, it's easier to trust their program because they know it works. We win with this program every year. But for us to try to search for something that we have never had, then we always have this, do we have the correct program? Are we doing things right? And then we just have to keep on exploring until we reach it. But we can't be, afraid of talking about it and to say that we really want it. So our biggest goal is to have this winning culture. And I think we're onto something, and we're super close. But yeah, we just have to keep on exploring and really see how we can get there.
I love that word, winning culture. I'm going to steal that. It's wonderful. You've often mentioned how close you are to your teammates, especially Thea Stenesund. Yeah. You even travel and spend holidays together. What does true friendship mean in a sport that's both individual and competitive.
Me and Thea are quite smart because we haven't competed against each other in like 6 years, I think, because she did the tech and I did speed. So then it's quite easy. But for me and Ragnhild, for example, it's I'm quite a social person and I could never, ever be on the road alone. I could never have my own team. So when Ragnhild quit, I said, okay, I need a new girl in my team. And lucky for me, Marte Monsen was on her way. She's been doing GS a little bit, and I've just been telling her every single season, Marte, just get over here and do some speed, okay? Just do it. And finally, I convinced her, or maybe she convinced herself. And she said, okay, I'll try. And she had an amazing season last season. And she's already top 30 in downhill, which is incredible. And she really saved my, my life, basically.
Yeah,
because
sanity.
yeah, and also I think my performance also, because I really love to travel with my teammates and do stuff, everywhere we are. And it's difficult to do that with only staff. And Marte is such a positive girl as well. And she is now, since I'm the veteran, as you said, I can like force her to do some stuff. So she can join me and she can't say no, if we should take a coffee or go to play something or whatever, I'm going to use that one as far as it goes. But to have teammates as we do now in our women team, the fact that we're not performing and have this winner culture has nothing to do with how we are together, because we have such a great team. And what you said, like, I pushed Ragnhild down from the podium once in Cortina, and she came out, was crying because she was so happy for me, and with Marte also, like, really being able to have good discussions and learn from each other. We really do that. So for me, it's a matter of skiing or not, actually, to have good relationships.
That's wonderful. You've mentioned, and we've only been going for a few minutes, Ragnhild an awful lot. She describes you as hyperactive, that you never stop training, exploring, or talking, which we're pretty pleased about. Would you say she's right?
Of course. Ragnhild probably knows me better than anybody else. I do. I love this. This sport fits me so good. You have no idea. Like, skiing, I love it. It's like, first of all, the seasons. So we're out traveling from August or September to March. That's when it's like winter depression in Norway anyways. So you travel, you go to these beautiful places, and you can just explore the nature, try to be as fast as you can. You have a staff around you to make sure you're feeling good, and you have so cool teammates. You meet new people, cultures, food, and you just get served everything. And for me, everyone are talking about this season being so, they get so tired of the season and it's so many things happening. For me, the season is like a vacation. Like, I feel like, because we have we're home in Oslo or Innsbruck from May to August, but that's when you have to cook your own food. I have to plan everything. I have to contact sponsors. I have to go to training. Then you're on your own. And when the moment I go to Chile in September, it's like, okay, they are planning stuff for me. They're driving me everywhere. I fly everywhere. I get the food served. I get home to a bed that's made. And I really love that. So for me, it's like I do as much as I can in the summer so that I know I can be a bit alone in the winter. So I get all my social things out in the summer. And then I know, okay, then I can be away the whole winter, and it's quite nice.
So for all you young ski racers tuning in to Alpine Pulse Unplugged, this lady loves the life. Maybe you could as well. Okay, Kaiser.
But I have to say also that I love skiing so much that I sometimes forget that I'm competing in it. So it's also important for me to remind myself that, okay, I really want to become the best in the world, but like some days are just so cool that it's so difficult, to focus. But that's where the staff come in and the teammates, and yeah, I just love both of it, the competing and the lifestyle.
Tip number 2, don't forget to win a race every
Yeah.
now and again, as well as loving the game. Let's move on. Icy slope. Okay, we have a video message from somebody that you've mentioned quite a lot already. So we had to get her
Yeah.
to come and talk to you. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who this is.
Ragnhild.
It's Ragnhild Mowinckel, who has a couple of questions. It's supposed to be a surprise, but
She has questions.
she has questions for you. Here we go. Icy slope.
Hello, Kaisa. Did you miss me? So I got some questions for you. First being, what would you say is the biggest challenge going from a junior level in alpine skiing to a senior level? For example, going from junior Europa Cup to going into the World Cup. And the second question I have is, if you had 0 limitations, you can change whatever you wanted, what will you do to improve our sport? That can be anything, so your input. Yeah, that's it.
Of course, Ragnhild has smart questions. Okay, going from a junior to like a senior or like World Cup, I think the best tip, or what I could say, is to be extremely curious. You have to come in with open eyes, not a tunnel vision. Try to just really ask questions, because, you know, I came in, Ragnhild came with arms like this, just hugged me, and I tried to just hold her arm for as long as I could and like follow her. But then after a short time, I noticed that we were quite different in many ways, but some things we were the same in, but it was many things that we were different in. But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't try. So I think it's important to come in, really just try to take everything from everyone, and then after a time, then you try to figure it out a little bit yourself, because it's going to be difficult if you try to figure it out all yourself in the beginning. Just really go out, be curious, and don't be afraid to fail, because you're definitely going to fail, and it's better that you do it early than late, you know. So I think curious, and just grab whatever information or experience you can from anybody.
That's wonderful words. That second question is quite a deep question.
Yeah, it is. If I can change something for the sport, I don't know. I said I love the sport so much, so it's difficult to say. I think it's difficult if you're going to go. I think World Cup and everything is quite good. We should, but when it comes to juniors and to make more people enjoy the sport, I think it should be some kind of better, what do you say? I don't know if we need foundations, or like if the government, like for example in Norway, if the government could help more with young sports and like the ski lifts in clubs or whatever, that makes more young people ski. That more young people can ski for a longer time, because I really don't. It's okay for me if people don't become like the best in the world, but I believe that skiing makes you so much. You become such a good person from skiing, I think. So if I could make more young people go skiing just for fun for a long time, until like ski gymnasium, or just until you're done with school, I think they would become so much better people. So if there was something we could do to make more people ski longer, that would be it for me, I think. Because you get so challenged from a young age when you're skiing, and you have to deal with so many things that I think you develop faster and look better at things and challenges in your future. So, but I don't know what. You can come with suggestions and we'll see. But yeah, I just really, really dream about more people skiing, and it's more accessible for people and young people for a longer time.
Yeah, you've got to do English and maths at school, and let's add skiing to the important parts of growing up. I
Yeah.
think it would be lovely. More kids skiing for me, the better.
Yeah,
I'm with you all the way.
You already have to
Kaza.
juggle your time with skiing and school from when you're 12 years old. So it's
Yeah.
it's a cool thing that you learn a lot from.
If you got any ideas, please drop us a note at Alpine Pulse Unplugged. Let's move on. At part 3, we want to talk a little bit more about home, culture, and identity. And speaking of home, Norway has a deep culture, particularly in sport, of resilience and togetherness. We talked to Alexander Kilder about this cultural mindset that shapes Norwegian athletes. What traditions or values do you carry with you when you travel around the world? And are there any Norwegian habits or traditions you're less proud of when you're trying to be the ambassador for Norwegian skiing in all those other countries that you travel to?
That was a big question, but I think I'm very proud of the values and the culture we have developed together in this whole team, and I think it's cool to walk around with the Norwegian flag. So it's definitely something that I'm proud of, and something good there. But I think what says the most about Norwegians is that we are quite open to people, and we're quite nice. And we always give everything we have and challenge each other. We talk a lot to try to make everybody feel good, not just the skier, but the whole staff. And we try to have this kind of team spirit more than other people, I think. But it's also something that kicks us in the back a little bit also, because sometimes I feel like we can be a little bit too nice, because maybe sometimes it's like, okay, we gave away this spot or this training to someone because we know that then we will get it back someday. But then it's like, did we get it back someday, or do we ever get anything back from? Sometimes we have to be a little bit tougher as well, I think, because we usually give in a little bit too easy, I think. So we have to stand up a little bit more for ourselves, I think. But other than that, it's a really cool team. We have spent a lot of time to try to make cool rules and values in the team. So an example is if you're new to the team, you have to have this new person presentation. So for example, we have a new physio now, and we told her last camp that she needs to have a presentation about herself to the whole team now when we go to Schnalsal. So it's up to you how you want to make the presentation, but the more you share, the better for you.
Brilliant.
So then we get to know them a little bit. We put them out there and see how they are as a person, and maybe they can say a fun fact that nobody knew, and then everybody knows each other a little bit better. And we have Dale Friday, where every Friday we wear the same sweater to dinner, so we look like a team, and then it's usually a race day the day after, so we get this spirit going in. And now we have a new rule that is, if you're late for meetings or departure, you have to. So if you're 2 minutes late, you have to serve another country 2 plates of dinner. So you have to basically go to the kitchen and ask if you can be like a waiter or waitress and serve 2 plates of dinner to another team. And if you don't do this the first day, then you have to do it the next day, then it's doubles. So every day you push it, it doubles. So then it's 4 plates the next day.
Wow.
So then it's fun for us in the team, and I don't think you're late again.
So next time you're in your hotel and you see Kajsa Wickhoff Lie serving your dinner, you know she was late for the meeting earlier
Never.
that day. Outside of skiing, you've built a life full of energy and purpose. Your business, we've talked about, your friendship, your family. It's all very open and lovely to see. Who is Kajsa off the slopes?
Off the slopes, I think I'm quite the same as I am in skiing. I try to be curious. I think it says a lot if I can describe my perfect day. So my perfect day is just when every single thing that I have planned in my calendar just goes straight into each other. You know, if I'm done with training at 10 and I have a meeting at 10:30 and then I have lunch at 11:30 and then you can just like go directly from one thing to another, that's like, then I've had the perfect day, because then I didn't waste any time. I did everything I could with that day. And then I'm also so tired when I go to bed, so I sleep perfectly anyways. So I think that's how I am also off the soaps. Here when I'm in the at a camp, then of course you have to rest a little bit, so then it's fine. But then off the soaps when I'm home, I love to just do everything I can out of the day.
That's wonderful. it backs up all the words we've said here as well. What do you enjoy? What grounds you? And what are the moments when you feel most yourself? I mean, you've just described that perfect day there. But what is it that grounds you? I feel like I'm talking to a beautiful, really normal person, not a superstar, not a world championship medalist, not a World Cup winner. What it is it about your life that keeps your feet so on normal?
Yeah, good question also. Keeps me normal. I don't think I'm normal anyways. But I love to go home with my friends, or like just do normal stuff with my friends, like dinners, and I let everybody know that if I'm home for 2 days, I text them and say, okay, I'm home for these 2 days, so make sure that we have a dinner or something that day, because then that's when I feel like, okay, this could be me on a normal Tuesday if I'm home. But then I'm happy to go again the day after. But I think just to have my friends from when I was a kid, that makes me the most normal. And also to come home with my family, because they have basically nothing to do with skiing. And I still have to remind my dad that I'm a speed skier, not a slalom skier. So now he starts to get to know the difference between slalom and GS. And sometimes he's like GGS and SSL. He's like just writing some numbers, letters. So I think that's the most, I think it's cool to have this good wall between the two lives, because skiing takes a lot from you, and you go crazy if you think about skiing. I did it when I was younger. I thought about skiing maybe once a day, every day, the whole summer. And then when I came and went skiing in August, I was already tired after a week. I didn't even miss it because I've already been thinking about it the whole summer. So that's when I knew that, okay, I actually need to divide and have some off time where I can really get this fire back to come back and give everything when I'm there, not to give a little bit the whole season, but actually being able to give everything when I need it and then be off when I also need that as well.
You've also founded your own speed academy.
Yeah.
To support and inspire young skiers. Where did the idea come from? And what do you hope to give back to the sport through this fabulous idea, I think?
I mean, I'm not going to say that getting injured is very good, but this also came when I was injured, because my day wasn't that I was going from one thing to another. So you're laying there and like, what can I do? And I met this guy that is super energetic as well. And he owns a couple of companies, and he's really good at like seeing, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, but what has all of this in common? And then I met with him for maybe half an hour. And then in the end, he was like, you should do this camp. You should have a camp for kids. And I said, yes, that's exactly what I need, actually. This is exactly what I need. So after he said it, I started, I just had the idea of it, and I started mentioning it a little bit to my sponsors, and I just got positive feedback, and I said, okay, I'll just try. So I think I started planning it like half a year before I had it, and I didn't study, I just skied, So But once you just start talking and people are super positive and nobody else is doing it, you know, so once you have an idea and you just start talking about it, it's so much easier than you think. So the idea was that, as I told earlier, I really want more people to ski. I want more people to ski for a longer time. They don't have to become the next Lindsey Vonn or Michaela Schifrin or Kajsa Li in that case, but I just really want them to see how cool it is, and also how cool it is to be in a national team if you want to take that next step. So then I said, I want to make a camp for Norwegian girls, because when Ragnhild was injured, I was alone for a whole season. And now when I was injured, I saw on the TV that it was only Ragnhild. And I said, we can't keep it like this. And I feel like, especially in Norway, when it comes to ski gymnasiums or clubs, the coaches are a little bit negative about speed training, because you don't train it that much. If it's nice weather, you do GS. If it's bad weather, you maybe do slalom. And if you're planning Super G, but it's good conditions, you do GS. And I want to put a little bit more pressure on them, because if you take a 14-year-old girl and she's been doing speed for 2 days and then she's going on to a speed race, you kick her out, she gets so scared, then it's difficult to make them do it again, you know. So I wanted them to have a good entrance to the speed discipline. So, but then I said, if I'm doing it, I need 3 principles. And the one thing is that it's going to be for free, so then everybody can apply, not only the rich people. And then it's without parents, because you know how crazy ski parents can get. They are super protective of their children. So I really wanted the girls to connect to each other, not just being with their parents. And also that it's from the whole Norwegian, Norway country, not only like Oslo and Bærum, where I'm from, but if you I really want the people from north and east and south and west, and bring them all together so they can get to know each other a little bit before they want to go to ski gymnasium, because then they maybe know somebody already, you know. So this was the principles, and with those I got all the sponsors I wanted, and made it happen. And I picked my coaches since I was a kid, all the best coaches I've had since I was a kid. Everybody said yes, they really wanted to do it. And it became super successful. So it was 30 girls.
Wow.
And I'm super happy about it. And we had it now for three years, I think.
And it's ongoing? There's more to come? It
is, but it's difficult. I mean, it takes a lot, and you have to start planning now.
Yes.
Good reminder, because I haven't started yet. It takes a lot. And the problem also is, you know, May is the alpine skiers' most holy vacation month, you know. And I decided to have this first weekend in June, and that's not so smart, because then in this vacation I always have to, I'm so stressed, I have to plan everything. And of course I'm not a good planner, so everything just comes in the latest time. So I always regret doing that camp, but then after that weekend, I always want to do it again. So I'm screwed.
No, please keep doing it time and time again. Let's, before we go to the fun section of this podcast, let's go back to racing. Let's get back into the intensity, because this winter that's coming will be your first Winter Olympic Games.
Yeah.
And firstly, what did the Olympics mean to you personally? And what do you think you'll feel standing at the start gate of the Winter Olympic Games for the very first time?
That's, I don't know. For me, Olympics has always been just something on the TV, you know? And I don't feel like I've had it as a dream in some kind of way. It's just been so far away. And I was just too young to, like, 2 times ago, and then I was injured. I tried really hard to get back to the Olympics last time, but my leg was not working. So then I said, okay, I'm done trying. I'm gonna go. It was in Beijing, right, with COVID. I said, okay, I didn't make it. I'm gonna go to Sri Lanka and have so much better time than the people in the Olympics. And I did, I think, because COVID didn't exist there. And but of course, if I can choose, I would love to go to the Olympics. I think this Olympics is quite special because it's going to be in Cortina. We have races there every year. We're staying at the same hotel that we stay at every year. I don't think I can make it to the opening ceremony because it's the day before the first training run. It's 4 hours away. So maybe I won't even see any of the other Norwegian participants. We're staying a couple of hours away from the men's team also. So I think it's going to be a special one. And I think, as you said, I think I need to look outside my window and see that Olympic flag a couple of times to really remind myself that this is the Olympics, because everything is so similar to the rest of the season that we've had. But of course, I've never been there, so I think I'm going to get a shock when I come there because it's so big. And it's a big, big dream of mine to represent Norway in the Olympics.
You must be getting quite excited to get on that Olympic racetrack.
I am. I'm so excited, and I'm quite happy it is Cortina. And it could have been any other place in the World Cup circuit, but I really like Cortina. I love Italy, as I said. They have good pizza there, and the conditions are so good. They were so unlucky in the World Champs with the weather, and hopefully this season they can kick back and really show what Cortina is, because it's the most beautiful place to ski. But that's true. I have a good record in Cortina, and I have something undone in Super G there, because I feel like that Super G is a really cool one. But I never really managed to, understand it. But I'm working on it, and I'm so looking forward to it. And it's going to be amazing. But first I have to build it up a little bit.
Let's move on to rapid fire, Kajsa. This has been great fun. Let's have a little more. Rapid fire means I ask you an answer. You say the first thing that comes into your head.
Okay.
No ifs or buts. Call a friend, share. No, straight in.
Okay.
Here we go. Downhill globe or Super G Olympic medal?
Downhill globe, I think.
Kvitfjell or Cortina?
Kvitfjell.
Oh. Pizza or Norwegian waffles?
Pizza.
Yeah, we knew that one was coming. Oslo winter or Spain for summer?
Spain for summer.
I'd come with you. Sauna or ocean dip?
Ocean.
Ski boots or sneakers?
Ski boots.
Fjords or Alps?
Fjords.
Traditional Norwegian dress or a dirndl?
Norwegian dress.
Snowstorm or sunshine?
Sunshine.
I think we're getting the picture of this one now. I'm getting the answers before you say them. Who wins karaoke night among your teammates?
Thea Sørensen.
I hope you agree with that, Thea. Top 3 songs in your playlist?
Oh, in my playlist, but I have to expand this one because I think it is just Austrian. Because my service guy, he uses my Spotify, and it's only polka, boom, boom, Austrian music. So right now, that's on him. And he's been having it for 6 years, and I've been giving him Spotify gift cards every year for birthday, and he still uses mine. So, Bernt, you need to get yourself your own Spotify because I'm sick of this Austrian music.
Yeah, polka boom boom, I'm not a fan of that, I have to admit. Here we go. Adventure holiday or lazy beach?
Adventure.
Podcast or Netflix?
Netflix.
Describe the perfect turn.
Where it just goes like... Where it sounds like that.
I like the sound of that. One Norwegian word everyone should learn.
It should be barneskirenn.
What does that mean?
It's what Petter Northug said when he crossed the finish line in cross country at the World Champs in Norway. He crossed it and then he just said barneskirenn. That means kids race.
Oh, that is lovely. If you could ski only one course forever, which one would it be?
I love Cortina, I have to say it.
Kajsa, thank you for bringing your passion, your joy, and your Norwegian fire to Alpine Pulse Unplugged. From pizza to downhill starts, you've shown that curiosity and courage can take you anywhere. I wish you the best of luck this season. We will all follow you so closely and enjoy those first Olympic Games.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks. I need it. No, thank you so much. It's been fun.
It's been
Hope
really
you're not
good
sick of me before the season started.
Not a chance in hell. And to all our listeners, don't forget to subscribe to Spotify, as we've just heard, Apple Podcasts, and FIS TV. Thank you for tuning in. Alpine Pulse is an official podcast of the FIS, produced by Maniac Studios.